Okay, hello everybody. Today's date is February 27th, 2025. My name is Leslie Williams, and I do appreciate my loyal followers staying tuned to my account. Now, I want you to listen to me very carefully, my fellow American citizens. Before I segue into the subject matter, I'm unfortunately going to have to make some statements that need to be said, so I apologize. I appreciate your patience, and I apologize for this. Bear with me for 1 second. And you also should know that I got an extremely bad head and chest cold. So I might have to stop intermittently. Hold on a second. As I'm talking to you, in order to either cough, burp, or take a drink of water or cough syrup. So I appreciate your attention. And your patience, absolutely. Now, as a direct result of what I endured between either the night of February 18th or February 19th, 2025, and February 23rd, 2025, which, by the way, the first night of that targeting, I forget right now which night it started on, so just, stay tuned to the account. Once I make another video dedicated to this particular episode, I will have it discovered by then. I'm still recovering from it. I'm literally still recovering from it. The initial night of this brutal attack episode, which took place at an area that's not even 80 feet away from where I'm at right now, is I'll talk to you about the attack here in a little while, okay? But I want you to know that, one of the initial things that happened to me was targeting to the nose, okay? And targeting to the windpipe area, and then eventual targeting to the chest, probably through the left shoulder, okay? Now, you'll understand this as I continue to talk, and I also need your patience because right now, unfortunately, the sun is on me, and it's causing body it's causing a lot of heat in the environment that I'm in right now, so if you can just be patient with me. I want to try and make sure I keep when your health is affected through the demonic things that these criminally insane bastards are doing to gang stalking targets, who are referred to targeted individuals, it affects our brain, it affects our health, and then it's widely, and you should also ask yourself, why is it widely reported that the same crime also uses neural weapons on victims, where they go after targets psychologically, through psychological battering, psychological demeaning critical statements, mocking victims as they're in reduced states from the biological and neurological targeting. And again, you'll understand this a lot better once I start diving into the subject matter of this particular video series. Now, I want to make a fast statement to you so you can take this to your heart and keep it in your mind as you see this video series unfold. If you don't know anything about this crime, and you hear quite a few things that are going to be discussed, detailed, about what they're doing to gang stalking victims, some of the things are going to sound peculiar. Some of the things are going to sound like it would be too hard for you to understand even if you did research. Okay, just stay with me. Okay, you'll understand why these statements are being made here in a few minutes. Okay. And by the way, the host of gang stalking counts on things like this. One thing you need to always remember about this demonic crime is that these demented bastards who host this crime, they not only massively exploit the victim's ignorance, but they also massively take advantage of the fact that the general population is almost 100% ignorant about what's really going on across board concerning this crime. And it is massively contributing to this crime being at the past the epidemic level all across America. Now, it is a crime that's completely protected, as demonic as that is. That right, so, if it wasn't for this crime being protected, these sick little bastards would not be allowed to do what they're doing and walking away scot-free. So the people who are protecting this crime are intimately directly connected to the demonic bastards who are hosting it. Those type of people, the legal death penalty is too good for them. Life in jail is too good for them. But I'm just going to end that statement there, okay? And make the additional statements that need to be made, and then I'll segue into the subject matter, okay? Now, keep in mind, though, that when you start hearing me talk, at any point in this video and the other videos that this video will be related to concerning these videos being a video series, don't say to yourself, I can't understand this. Or don't say to yourself, this isn't a subject matter that interests me, so I'm out of here. Okay? Don't say that to yourself, because trust me, I'm going to try my very, very best, and usually I'm very good at this. I'm going to try my very, very, very best to explain things to you in layman's terms, so you can at least see a good majority of the crime. And then when it comes to the medical articles and scientific articles and other attached links and stuff that I'll show you, yeah, most of that you're going to be able to understand too, because a lot of these scientific articles and medical articles are written very well concerning using layman's language, where the average person can sit back and say, okay, I understand this, but I got a little confused when it came to this medical term. Well, all you got to do is write down the medical term and do enough research into that until you get to enough descriptions that are described in, average everyday language that will help you see it. See, folks, what we got to remember here is that the crimes that are occurring to targeted individuals who are basically gang stalking victims are the worst crimes ever known to man in the entire history of the human race. There's professors, scientists, doctors, lawyers, and thousands of very educated victims who have studied this crime for over 20 years, saying the same exact thing. Okay? It is the worst crime ever perpetrated against the human family. Ever. Okay? So, I would think you would want to know about that. And we're talking about a crime that is literally past the epidemic level. So, we need to look at when we listen to educated victims, especially educated victims who are experienced, when you listen to what we expose, okay, and you follow our instructions, and you follow them with a mature, adult, investigative, patient posture, you'll discover truth. Okay? You'll discover it, absolutely. Because one of the biggest things that drives gang stalking victims, all of us want relief from this crime. That's always a top, the most top priority for us is to get the hell out of this crime and be released from this demonic satanic program. Obviously, because they're literally killing us. They're intentionally disabling us. Intentionally. Okay, they're intentionally giving us even terminal health maladies like cancers, leukemias, and so on, which the medical centers and the hospitals and even private practice doctors completely lie about. Okay, absolutely. That's one of the protection mechanisms, by the way, of this crime. And you'll understand that as you stay with this video series. Trust me, you'll understand it. Now I lost my train of thought. Just bear with me a second. I did lose my train of thought here because I'm a little distracted. So I'm gonna bear with me a second. So what was I referring to? So when you hear these exposures, when you hear them and you say, okay, here is something she's showing me, I can investigate it. What you want to do is you want to take every tidbit of descriptive statement when a technology is being described. Okay, when a scientific article is being displayed, you wanna relate it to what is discussed verbally in the video series. And then when you do the research, you want to take notes. And then your brain is going to say, God, I want to see this, but because it's going to take a little while, okay, for you to see the entire scope and the true nature of what's being verbally discussed. It's going to take you a little while because you need to see all the connecting parts. But you're not going to be able to see all the connecting parts, and they won't synthesize into your understanding based on the verbal information I'm giving you until you do the research. Because the brain will synthesize it, it will organize it and synthesize it to my descriptions. And that's where your adult, patient, posture, investigative posture comes in at. Folks, we are literally dealing with the worst crime ever known to man that is completely protected by doctors, hospitals, private practice doctors who are being privately colluded with. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. And the military-industrial complex is playing a huge role in this crime. The Air Force Research Labs, DARPA, naval intelligence, Army, okay? DARPA's playing a huge reported role in this crime. Absolutely. Now, folks, they are some of the, and then you got the CIA, the DIA, the NSA, and the DOD, and then you got the fact that this is a nationwide effective program. These main top-tiered, reported hosts are probably then using their sphere of influence to collude with state, county, local officials, state, county, local police, and their identities are always kept secret because let me just make a statement to you in a metaphorical way for legal reasons. If you got the Air Force Research Lab, if you got DARPA, if you got naval intelligence, if you got Army intelligence, if you got DOD contractors, if you got the DOD, the DIA, the NSA, and the CIA as being the main host of this crime, well, a lot of the reported weaponry that's being used on gang stalking victims is reported to come from the military. Now, folks, the average American citizen can barely fight a parking ticket in court for various reasons. They can't take off time from work. Courts usually favor with police. If you got to go to trial, then you got to take time off work. There's many different things that kind of come into play. If you see the government about anything, their lying demonic asses will look for every way possible to prevent you from winning. Okay? Now, that's just your local city government. Try going up against all these just previously mentioned entities like the DOD, the DIA, the CIA, the NSA, Army Intelligence, Naval Intelligence, Air Force Research Labs, DARPA. Try going up against them when all of their identities that are responsible for this are not revealed to anybody except for the other top-tiered people that they privately collude with at state, county, and local level. And they are probably working through middlemen. Look, folks, we're talking about tens of thousands of Americans being tortured to death in the most brutal, sadistic way ever known to man. Babies, infants, teenagers, adults, the elderly, the disabled, all being targeted. Now, how do you think you would feel you being just an average, decent American, and you hear about a baby's brain being fried with direct energy weapons? Would you not want to see the perpetrators in jail immediately for the rest of their demonic, criminally insane, depraved lives? Anybody with 2 brain cells that's a decent person would say yes. You put a pound of hamburger in a microwave oven and you watch it cook, that's what they're doing to gang stalking victims' brains, blood, bones, organs, arteries. We're being literally cooked alive from the inside out. Day and night by these sadistic little demonic, depraved, demented bastards. Now, do you really believe that they're going to allow you, the victim, to prove the fact that it's being done and anything that they might have put in the victim that is assisting in achieving it? The average citizen can't even fight a parking ticket. This crime is completely protected in court. The criminal application, of classification laws is widely reported to be done in this crime. Why are all of gang stalking victims who are reporting this crime to the DOD, the FBI, the DOJ, the DIA, why are all of our current complaints and past complaints being completely ignored? Let me tell you something about the pathology of these wild-ass animals. And I don't give 2 shits about how I sound to anybody. Trust me, folks, if you were enduring this crime, you'd be saying the same thing. Make no mistake about it. You'd be saying the same exact thing. Okay? Now, let me tell you something about these wild, vicious-ass animals, and then I'll turn and segue into the subject matter. These filthy whores don't give 2 shits about nothing except for what they're aiming for, what their crime motivations are, achieving them, and protecting them. They don't care about anybody. They don't even care about the vast majority of the people they use, including police and fire department personnel, including the lower level doctors. They don't give 2 shits about nobody. Okay? They're vicious animals. Now, this crime will kill you just to avoid the embarrassment of what you're exposing about them. So if I ever end up dead, heart attack, stroke, okay, kidney or liver disease, any type of cancers or leukemias, yeah. I want you to know right now, okay, that remember what I've been exposing, remember what I am. Okay? These people are murderers, premeditated murderers. To the perpetrators, consider this, and then I literally will segue into the subject matter. Folks, when you do in-depth research into gang stalking crimes, your in-depth, long-term research into this crime, trust me, folks, there's tens of thousands of posts about this crime all over the internet. Now, when you, let me blow my nose here real fast. Hold on. Oh, God. When you do in-depth research about this crime, you will see it heavily reported that one of the biggest things that all victims eventually expose is that their online activity is being cyber surveilled by the very demented bastards who are doing this crime. Which means that everything we do online is reported to be cyber surveilled by the very perpetrators, okay, who are responsible for it. Okay? You know, my tape recorder has been, bear with me a second. Now remember what I said, on occasion there'll be brief interruptions in my continued speech. My tape recorder has been in record mode for the last 2 hours and 28 minutes. And it has probably recorded some pretty significant continued noise in my environment. Now, do you hear any noise right now? Okay, I could say other things about that too, but I'll just let that lay there. Hold on. Hold on. Right now I hear a oscillating, sharp-pitched frequency sound in my environment while I'm simultaneously hearing it in my right ear. Okay? Keep that in mind, and trust me, when you see my wideband videos, you'll completely understand. So let me tell you something about the demented little bastards who do the cyber surveillance. Now, if the ones who are doing the cyber surveillance are not the ones who are targeting victims with directed energy weapons and acoustic weapons and electromagnetic weapons, if they are not the ones who are actually doing that type of targeting, they are intimately connected to the ones that are. Okay? And I can make some further statements about that to kind of help you see why, that there is a likelihood that it is set up that way. Because it is reported that this program, the operators that are responsible for the community-based harassment, all the different types of attacks victim endures, okay, and everything that happens to our health and everything that happens to our actual life, like the ability to have a car, an apartment, to work, all that is connected to different compartmentalized groups that are part of the group, the entire group that affects the program against stalking. So in other words, they got a Bureau of Travel, a Bureau of Technology, then you got the doctors, then you got the police, the fire department, and all these different, the Bureau of Travel would be people in the travel industry that would be connected to this crime. Airplane pilots, maybe, airplane attendants, baggage handlers, train operators, bus drivers, okay, public transportation services security personnel, the people who run those public transportation services. You would not believe what I endure out here through MTS. You fucking wouldn't believe it. MTS is criminal to the maximum extreme. And you better listen to every single thing that's coming out of my mouth about them. I got so much evidence concerning MTS, and the evidence is indisputable. Okay? It is completely indisputable. Absolutely. So the program against stalking, concerning what it is as a, it's basically a collaborating, cohesive group. And it's got, and what it is it's a group of a bunch of groups of people that are part of the, so the program, it's a program, and the program is affected through a bunch of cohesively connected groups. One group is connected to the Bureau of Technology, one is connected to the Bureau of Travel. Bureau of Technology would be people that would be running the cyber surveillance, maybe even being connected to the medical establishment when it comes to remote neural monitoring and voice to skull, okay, and the infrared ultrasound, and maybe even the biomedical implantation. I don't know enough about them because they're not going to walk up to any victim and say, this is who we are, okay, and this is how we operate. That information came from a manifesto that was put online years ago, reportedly by a manager of gang stalking crews. So I'll just end that statement there. So what we got to understand about these sick, bile-demented bastards is that, yes, they do cyber surveil our internet activity, no matter where that internet is being used at. On the victim's own devices, or at a library computer or a university library computer or the victim's own laptop, phone, tablet, whatever. These sick, demonic, criminally insane criminals, okay, are widely, vastly reported to be cyber surveilling all of our internet activity, no matter if we're using our own devices or somebody else's devices, including cell phone and landline phone tapping, okay, and even cell phone, telephone call rerouting. You would not believe. Oh, you just would not believe what's going on. So anyways, okay. Now, so since the sick little bastards are monitoring our online activities, if you're using a phone to make a video like I am right now, they can obviously determine that you're making a video, and then all of a sudden, all their noises go silent. Except for the noise that they know can't be recorded, which is the fluctuating tone that I'm hearing right now to my right ear in my environment, okay, coming from a place that I'm going to be moving to here in the next few days, as long as nothing happens that prevents me to do so, okay? Literally. Now, and by the way, situational scenarios like that have happened practically at every place that I have had to pick a hiking area at. The crime of gang stalking made me homeless from several apartments in Michigan and one in Tennessee, and so I just gave up on renting apartments. I've also been absolutely thoroughly gang stalked to homeless shelters in Michigan and Connecticut. So, you know, good luck. If you're a gang stalking victim who's been made homeless, they will happily stage an event towards you with any type of law enforcement and then try and offer you homeless services. Why? Because those lying maggots who are in your environment, as a result of them covertly colluding with the host, tracks you down, then they stage an event towards you, then they claim, well, since you're homeless, maybe you should go to a homeless shelter. They already know you're going to say no. Oh, absolutely, because the host that's colluding with them is the same host that colluded with the organized crime syndicate in this system that was gang stalking that victim in the other state. And when the victims moved from state to state, whatever was done to that victim in the prior state, that information will be shared to the syndicate that's in the state the victim's going into. So research interstate stalking and gang stalking, which means that part of that information being transferred from the syndicate that gang stalked me in Michigan transferred the information of how I was gang stalked in Michigan to the syndicate in Connecticut, and then from Connecticut to San Diego, which means the San Diego whores out here absolutely know that I was gang stalked to homeless shelters in Michigan and in Connecticut, and subject to massive gang stalking in these homeless shelters, which means they know, look, folks, anybody with 2 brain cells, anybody that has the ability to engage in normal, healthy, self-preservation, critical thinking, and common sense deductions would say, it is wise for me not to go back to a place that I'm being massively gang stalked at, where multiple crimes are happening to me, plus I can also be set up there. And when gang stalking stages an event, they'll stage the witnesses. So you can be set up for assaults, rapes, robberies, arrest. Because if you're at home or by yourself at a hiking area, you're not at a homeless shelter where 10 different homeless people can be privately colluded with and paid off and used against you, including staff. But you see, the park rangers and SDPD, and I'm sure SDSD is involved in this crime, abso-fucking-lutely, they don't have any problems whatsoever in staging an event towards a gang stalking target at their hiking area, okay, and claiming they're stumbling across them for normal apparent excuses, and then will offer you homeless services while you're being videotaped by them on their chest cameras. Now, why would they do this? Because the little whore that's being used in real time, park rangers, SDPD, okay, and at any time if SDSD tries to get their little dumbasses involved in this crime, at least they were smart enough to stay out of the current targeting of me. Oh, absolutely. I'll say that for SDSD. They were smart enough to stay out of the the bullshit that I went through between 2014 and up to this date. Remain smart. And we're going to see, by the way, if I endure any staged events through them. Yeah, something like that is called mimicking. The perpetrators see that you're identifying a certain thing, and then they'll literally do it. Literally. You can review the direct conversation method to get an idea about that. So anyways, so what they'll do is they'll just basically criminally track you to a hiking area. They'll claim they're there for other excuses. Then they'll act like they're stumbling across you. And then they'll offer you these homeless services while they're videotaping you on their chest cameras. And they already know before they arrive that they're going to do this. They already know you're going to say no to it before they even ask it. Because remember, that current park ranger, that current SDPD officer already knows you're being gang stalked. He already knows you're going to say no. Okay? So, if you're found dead later, they can claim Miss Williams died because she was assaulted or robbed or raped and then murdered because she refused to get out of the homelessness. Okay? Welcome to the covert things that can be look, folks, that last part of what I just said there can easily be affected by and through this crime. Easily. Because when you're made homeless, you no longer have a front door of your apartment to protect you. Even though they will break into women's homes and rape them in their own home, go to Google and YouTube and type in 10-5 San Antonio news broadcast stalked in San Antonio. So to get rid of all these statements and just put them on the back burner for now, I want you to know that the pathology of these vile-ass animal whores is but not limited to, they see you're making a video concerning them. They see it. They'll even influence you to make a video concerning what's reported through neural weaponry. For various reasons, to get you to describe things, for choreographing of speech signals, for later forced speech through remote neural monitoring. I know you don't understand that right now, but just trust me, shelf that for now, and you stay with this account, you'll learn things over time. Baby cakes and munchkin butts, you will absolutely learn things over time. Absolutely. Hold on. So, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to start talking about the subject matter at exactly 33 minutes and 10 seconds. Because usually that's when a second video will start. Okay? And so what I'll do is, because I'll get notified through a dialog box on my home screen that another video has started. Hold on a second. Okay? So I want you to know that, and so that way I can start fresh, like at the beginning of the second video. I can just dive right into the subject matter. And I want you to, I'm literally begging you to stay with this account and stay with this video series, because you need to see what these sick, vile animal whores did to me between either the night of the 18th or the night of the 19th of February 2025 at an area less than 80 feet away from where I'm sitting at right now, okay, up through the 23rd, and I still have the cold that got affected from that event. Now, going back to an earlier statement that I briefly made, the audio file that I'm going to be playing in the second video, which is going to be the video that starts the subject matter exposure, it literally shows world-renowned scientist Dr. Hildegard Stanger openly state, and I got more than one audio file that shows her and private investigator Melinda Kidder talk about this. She's the author of many books, by the way. Brain implants and messaging, nanomachines, and the ultimate creation of false memories, but written by Dr. Hildegard Stanger, $22 on Amazon. There's massive photos of implants in that book. Absolutely. Nasal implants, brain implants. You would not believe it. You just would not believe what they're doing to gang stalking victims. So let me give you a fast example, and then I'll go back and tie off that statement. Imagine you being a human being, and you discover that, and we're talking about a very intelligent human being, a very resourceful and a very creative human being too, okay? You being a smart, healthy, good, decent person, intelligent person, I'd give you the shirt off my back if I thought it would help you survive, okay? I might not do it now because my resources are so strained by these animals that I actually couldn't, but if I could, I would. Yeah, you would not believe how they intentionally affect my finances, which is, by the way, an across-the-board complaint amongst tens of thousands of victims of this crime, which means the vast majority of gang stalking victims are openly stating that their finances are being intentionally targeted. Okay? Oh, absolutely. So, I'm going to do a cognitive reset here so I can go back and tie off my statement that I was leading into. See, I'm having a verbal whiteout right now. Okay, so I'll go back and tie off the earlier statement. Dr. Hildegard Staninger, I got many audio files that openly show her state that these sick, vile, disgusting animals, and by the way, this following statement, I have got massive amounts of saved articles and snap screenshots. Okay, from intra and intraban, Y-band, non-consensual implantation. So just remember what I was going to say. One victim, imagine you discovering, no matter how old you are, imagine you discovering that it's very likely that you have up to 70 or more implants in you, including in the brain, the jaw, the cheek, the gum line, the ears, the throat, the chest, the neck, okay, the back, the digestive tract, okay, the respiratory tract, okay, in and around your liver and kidneys, in your hips, your waist, your thighs, your knees, your shin, your ankles, your feet, your toes, your arms, your elbows, your forearms, your wrists, your hands, your fingers, all over your body. Now, if that ain't bad enough, imagine you being internally tortured through electromagnetic weapons, directed energy weapons, infrasound and ultrasound, as a result of these things being able to remotely interface with these implants so they can cook you alive and so they can literally control you. Ear implants, brain implants can play a huge role in controlling your decision making. So stay tuned to this account, because what you're going to being exposed in not only this video series, but some upcoming video series is going to literally blow your mind. How can we know truth unless we hear truth tellers? Now, these vile, vicious animals that did this to a particular gang stalking victim that I'm personally aware of, they know what they've already done to that victim, staged a rape for that victim to experience through the acoustic weaponry and through remotely interfacing with some of these implants. Absolutely. Set the victim up for over a decade of slavery. And that's related to a subject matter that cannot be discussed right now. I'm going to try and find a way to discuss it without saying certain things that can be used against the victim. Look, folks, we're dealing with complete, thorough, sadist, demonic, twisted, demented to the maximum extreme, criminally insane socio-psychopaths who have no problem whatsoever taking the truth, twisting it to make it look like a lie, and then taking that same truth and trying to make it appear that this happened to you because of your own decision making in order to deflect the truth by creating these types of lies. They have no problem with that whatsoever. Anybody that would sadistically enslave another human being into one form of slavery and then turn that into sexual slavery for the sake of the first slavery is a demonic whore. A filthy, demented bastard that belongs in jail for the rest of their little demented lives. Now, do you really think they're going to allow that to happen to them? Of course not. That's why they're protected. That's one of the reasons why they're protected. This crime is involved in hundreds of slavery motivations. And a lot of it is achieved through non-consensual biomedical implants. Okay? Look, folks, I got video files, audio files, scientific literatures, testimonies by thousands of victims, including doctors, scientists, lawyers, professors, openly stating that the technology that's being put in gang stalking victims can literally enslave them against their own will. Against their own will. They can take the most conservative, good, healthy, conservative Christian, okay, and influence that victim into their own slavery, mentally and biologically. Now, what is America supposed to be about? I literally got a scientist that shows us senator's brother openly state that the basic inherent thing that most Americans know, that even most human beings on the planet know, that the main thing that God gave us is what? Freedom of choice. Freedom of choice. It allows us to discern what's good for us, what's bad for us, who's healthy for us, who's not healthy for us. Okay? Okay? Who to stay away from, what to stay away from, where to go, where not to go. If they can alter that, if they can change that, If they can do both, they got you. So I'm past the 33-minute and 10-second mark, and I have not got that dialogue box yet on my home screen that would show that signals me into knowing that a second video has started. So since I haven't seen that yet, I'm just going to go ahead right now and segue into the subject matter of this video series. The torture episode that I endured between either the night of the 18th or 19th, and from now on in this video series, I'm just going to say the night of the 19th. If it started on the 18th and I go back and look at my video files and audio files and discover that it started on the 18th, I'll just make an updated video and just let you know. Okay, it's no big deal. Occurred at an area less than 80 feet away from where I'm at right now. And I'm going to show you that area. Okay, bear with me a second. So do you see that bush right there? Okay, and do you see that tree right there? Okay, and do you see that information right there? And you should know on this bush right here, and then those bushes right there, on the other side of that are two big, gigantic green sewer mounds that city employees would go into in order to get into the sewer drainage. And as far as what property I'm on, I'm not intimidated by the whores that control the type of police that are dedicated to this property. I'm not intimidated by them at all. They want me to be, but I'm not. I would not be homeless if it wasn't for the intentional corruption of who's ever controlling SDPD. And that's being generous to SDPD, but I'm going to start being a little bit generous to SDPD, just a little bit. Because, let me tell you something right now. The police is an employment description. So you can have good officers and bad officers controlled by human traffickers. Okay? And the human brain is wired, all human beings' brains are wired in the following way. And I could expand on this, but I'll just give you a brief statement, then I'll segue into the subject matter. We have a part of our brain called the limbic system. It's the oldest part of our brain. And the limbic system is dedicated to self-preservation. So any employment description, if you go to a grocery store that's involved in a gang stalking review, and you're a bagger or a cashier, and that cashier or bagger is approached by their manager, and they're told to do something around me, concerning me, connected to gang stalking, to force me to notice it, okay? Do you think that employee is going to say no to their manager? Because that employer is in the back of their mind, they're going to say to themselves, am I going to get fired for saying no? Are my hours going to be reduced? Am I going to be demoted? Am I going to be transferred? Now, that type of influencing comes from the limbic system. The limbic system area of the brain is responsible for what? Self-preservation. Everybody's got to eat. Everybody's got to eat. Everybody's got to eat and sleep. Okay? So the same thing with police. If you got a decent police officer who really, literally does care in their heart, in their thinking about crime victims, and would love to see criminals go to jail that are victimizing innocent people, we're still dealing, though, with an employment description that is controlled by human traffickers. So that person that is above them privately conferences with them and says, you need to go to the library and expel this person. Okay? They're going to obey orders. They're going to obey orders. Because if they say no, then they got to worry about the backlash. That is the most I will ever give to SDPD. Everything else concerning them denying my right to make police reports, them allowing me to be gang stalked, go straight to hell. Absolutely. My life is important to me. Your life is important to you. I am not emotionally attached to you, just like you're not emotionally attached to me. You told me to fuck off on massive dates when you denied my right to make a police report. So I have a right then to say to you, fuck off. I'm going to expose everything I know about the behaviors you did engage in and didn't engage in when I legally asked you to file for police reports concerning me being gang stalked. Okay? So, my fellow American citizens, what is the subject matter of this video series? You need to understand something. When you see me starting to dive into things that I'm going to show to you, your brain is going to say, okay, I'm hearing what she's saying, but I don't see it yet. Because you need additional information, additional details. And then as I continue to talk and unpack the material, you're going to start to see how the foundational information relates to the scientific and medical articles, okay? And then the additional verbal information is going to become attached to that, and then what comes after it verbally. So you got to be patient. That's the way the brain processes information. We take what we hear, and anything that becomes associated to it becomes part of our memory references. And then when we get the additional information, the brain attaches it to already connected associated information. Okay? And then when you see additional visual information, scientific articles and stuff, you review that, then that becomes synthesized to it. Then you'll see it. So don't walk away when you start to hear me unpack the information in this video. My fellow American citizens, welcome to truth. If you want to hear about how they can literally birobotize a human being to walk them to their own death intentionally based on their expertises and what's in the victim, them remotely interfacing with it, is what allows them to do this. If you really want to know how they can walk and talk a human being into their own fucking death, pay attention to my statements. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you something here. And at any time when the video, when the microcard segues into separate videos, what I'll just do is say, hey, look, this is video number 2, and I'll say today's date at the beginning of the video so you'll know which videos are connected to this video series, because I don't have time to title my videos right away once they're uploaded. Now, bear with me one minute. Let me get some water. I'm sitting in an environment right now where the sun is right on me, and the only reason why I'm not burning up is because I got a rain fly on the shelter that I'm in. Oh, Lord help me. Okay. All right. Now, let me show you something here real fast. Do you hear any background noises in my environments, like helicopters, sirens, traffic, landscape noise, or anything else? No, you don't. Now, let's see if it all of a sudden starts, because I'm going to show you something. Do you hear an airplane magically coming in right now? Hold on. And now you're going to magically hear a muffler. Briefly there for a second. Now this is intimately directly connected to the scratchy tone that I hear in my environment, but you can't hear it. But this is the sound frequencies of it. And ultrasound is at the far right. Now, this has identically been recorded on over 150 different videos at least 140 of the 190 hiking areas that I've had to move to and from since 2019. Identical to a T readouts. The same exact sound heard at every hiking area. Now, you're going to understand the extreme significance of this once you see my wideband video series. Your jaw is going to drop. So just trust me. Whenever you hear me say something or show you something, and if it's not expanded upon in my videos, and then you're left with a hole in your understanding concerning what it's about, trust me, stay with the account. You'll learn. You'll absolutely learn. So I wanted to show that to you because it's only on... most of the time when they involve themselves in massive community-based harassment, sound harassment, and even projections through holosonics, which I can absolutely prove, which other victims are also exposing, they'll usually stop it when I go to make a video series, but on rare occasions they'll still do it. Today they're not. They reverted back to the fluctuating tone that I hear in the environment, but you can't hear it. But the Sound Spectrum Analyzer app picked up their dedicated sound frequencies and decibels. What you just saw from the Sound Spectrum Analyzer app has been caught at least, identically caught at least 130 different hiking areas. Heard at 190 of the 190s. The vast majority of the time, it's occurring to the right ear. Okay, so bear with me one second. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to my gallery. Now I'm going to show you a few things, and you're going to understand why you're being shown the things you're going to understand why they're being shown here in a few minutes. Okay? Because you're going to be given right now some foundational information. Hold on a second. Dang it. Okay, so let me bring this up. Bear with me a second. By the way, this right here... Oh, hold on. I don't know why that just occurred. Hold on. I gotta set this other phone up so it doesn't slide. Bear with me a second. Okay, so I want... Alright, hold on. Because something's occurring here. I don't understand it. Wait a minute. Alright, so I gotta bring up my gallery. And if you can just bear with me 2 more seconds, I'm gonna have to put some water on a paper towel and put it around my neck because I'm starting to sweat. This video series will be eventually forwarded to Nancy Hollander, and you'll know when the video series has been concluded because the last video I will literally state in it that this is the conclusion video of this video series. So you can even create a small letter like Leslie Williams is being tortured in San Diego, California. When you research how gang stalking victims across board, okay, are saying that their communications are being censored, electronic, and even telephone calls and physical mail. See, because you got to remember, folks, the wild whores who are torturing us victims, they know they're torturing us. Okay? So they don't want gang stalking victims to have legal advocacy, especially legal advocacy that is hard to control. Nancy Hollander, she was in a movie with Jodie Foster played her role back in 2021 called The Manchurian. And she advocated for a Guantanamo Bay prisoner who was illegally put in Guantanamo Bay and discovered to be innocent. And she legally advocated for him pro bono, and she won. Now, it doesn't matter what you think about suspected terrorists or not, folks. Every human being on this planet has got a right to rights. Okay? Absolutely. And this guy turned out to be innocent. Okay? So, she's a world-renowned human rights activist. But if you can't get a hold of a human rights activist, then how are they going to know you're being tortured? Okay? And I want you to consider this. If you stay with this account, you're going to see extremely high quality, very high-end evidence. You're going to see some of it in this video series. Absolutely. That evidence is indisputable. It's in your face. It's indisputable. And these vile whores that are committing this crime, they know it's indisputable. Okay? So when you're torturing a human being sadistically to death, including disabling them before the death, so they can get a hold of them to exploit them in different ways before the death is induced, well, if you're reaching out for lawyers, they're going to try and get a hold of you before you obtain one, and they're going to try and infiltrate that communication between you and the lawyer. So all anybody has to do is go into their computer offline and create a letter through Word document and say, Leslie Williams in San Diego, California, is being brutally tortured to death, literally, and here's some links for, and then paste the YouTube links in that same letter, and then anonymously mail it to Nancy Hollander or fax it. And for all I know, the letters might even be intercepted, but at least it's worth a shot. And I don't care if this sounds a little nutty or not, but this is the truth. So when you go to Google and you extensively research at Google how gang stalking victims, all of our electronics are reported to be censored, all of our physical mail, it's widely reported they'll reroute our phone calls. Okay. Oh, you wouldn't believe what I went through when I was entrapped in Molina Healthcare between July 2024 and January 1st of 2025. You wouldn't believe the creative ways they entrapped me in that healthcare plan. And I ended up getting no help health-wise whatsoever. And wait till I make some video series about that. Oh, absolutely. Now, I know you're being patient with me concerning the subject matter. Just hold on one more second. I literally just endured an attack. Hold on a second. See, folks, we're dealing with a pathology that says to itself, we don't give two shits at all about what we do to anybody. Now they know they got that. They know they got that mentality. They know they got that attitude. They know that they got that type of pathology. They know it. They know it, and they also know it through their actions. They also know what actions they're perpetrating. So do you honestly think that they're not going to do everything humanly possible to prevent that victim, especially the victim that's got high-end evidence, indisputable high-end evidence, from that evidence reaching a lawyer or a law firm? They're going to do everything possible. Because when you, it's like keeping a woman entrapped in a locked house who's being, brutalized in several ways. Well, she's just basically being used as a slave. Well, if you can keep a woman in a house by putting bars on the windows and doors and holding the key, she's trapped in a house. That's exactly what gang stalking's like. Literally. And the police play a role in that. Absolutely. You better believe they do. Okay. So, I had to do something in order to get some pain in control. So bear with me, and here we go. You guys ready? Buckle up, baby cakes and munchkin butts, because you're about ready to witness some hard truth. Now, if I get cut off in the middle of my statements because the video file, the microcard segued into a separate video, I'll just pick up where I left off at in the previous video, at the tail end of the previous video. Okay? So you might have to wait for that upload for a week or two. Okay. So what I'm going to do right now is show you a few things. Okay. It starts right here. You can go to Google and type in at Google. This is now the introductory to the subject matter. You can go to Google and type in at Google, the brain sends signals to the leg to move them, using the primary motor cortex, which is located in the frontal lobe. These signals travel through the spinal cord, the central nervous system to the spinal cord, and brain stem to motor neurons, which then signals the muscles to contract. And what did I type into Google in order to bring up these types of responses? What signals does the brain send to the legs to get up and leave? So type that in at Google. Okay? And then this is the information that came up. Now you can go to Google. I want you to write this down. Okay, go to Google. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to get up and go get a pen and piece of paper. Do it. Just go ahead and do it. You're not going to miss anything while you're up. And that 30 seconds starts right now. Okay, and for the people who didn't get up, I just want you to know that I absolutely, from the bottom of my heart, sincerely thank you for your time and attention concerning you watching my videos, learning from them. The crimes that gang stalking victims are enduring can happen to anyone of any age, anywhere, at any time. Oh, absolutely. And by the way, you can be subject to this crime without the community-based gang stalking, which means that your life can be completely sabotaged from the inside out. It can be destroyed. You can be put out on the street, and all of it managed in a way to where you just think that it was bad luck here, bad luck there. This happened to you because of a bad relationship, okay? Because gang stalking knows how to do that. It knows how to privately collude with your boss to get you fired. It knows how to stage a vehicle accident so you lose your car. Okay, it knows how to sabotage relationships, friendships. Okay, so this crime can be affected upon you in your life for 20 or 30 years without the community-based gang stalking, where it's just sabotaging your life endlessly, including while steering you into relationships where social infiltration, where those relationships will then be used to take you deeper into the rabbit hole that leads to your exploitation. Is that what happened to me in Michigan? Absolutely. And by the way, you need to research fighter jets to gang stalking noise harassment, as well as military helicopters. So for those that got up and get a pen and piece of paper, this is what I want you to write down. I want you to go to Google and YouTube. I want everybody to go to Google and YouTube and write down Synchron, S-Y-N-C-H-O-R-N, Synchron, brain-to-computer interface, stentrode and or jugular vein, okay, brain-to-computer interface, brain implant. Okay? Now, there are many different types of brain implants that can be put in gang stalking victims. And a lot of these brain implants will absolutely be seated where? Directly on the primary motor cortex. You should also look up the Utah electrode array. Okay? The audio file that I'm going to be playing here in a little while in either this video or the next video of this video series literally talks about how they can use scalp lead implants that will then go and can be attached to the heart, where the perpetrators will use the electrical chemical response generated from the movement of the heart as a battery to so that the cochlear implant in your ear can have a unit of charge sent to it for operation. These people are the most demented, demonic bastards, criminally insane, and demented beyond verbal description. So if you have an implant put on your primary motor cortex and or your premotor cortex, which would be a brain-to-computer interface, okay, brain neural prosthetic implant, then that and or the Utah electrode array and or a neural prosthetic implant that can be put in the ear, okay, then what it can do is it can literally record the neuronal activity dedicated to the populations of neurons that are dedicated to what? Limb movement. Now, so I want you to listen to the following information very carefully. Let me check my battery on my phone. So I want you to listen to the following descriptions very carefully. And by the way, let's see how long these airplanes stay in the air. The ones that are making this loud noise right now. Let's see how long and or how often they are in the environment. Right now, they are to my left ear. Whenever that type of plane or any plane is in my environment, those types of planes have been recorded on my sound spectrum analyzer app shown a few minutes ago. And I want you to immediately know that when I've had that sound spectrum analyzer app up, trying to record in real time through a video, what it's reading out concerning the scratchy tone that I described earlier, what the scratchy tone readouts are showing, all of them jump up when the fighter jets go by. You know, anyone at any time can ask yourself, why did they make a specific gang stalking victim homeless? Because when you're homeless, you don't have a window to shut or a door to shut that would block out sound. And you'll understand that a lot better when you see the Y-band video series that's coming up. So going back to the primary motor cortex, what did I type in at Google? I typed in at Google, what signal does the brain send when you say to yourself, I gotta get up, to your legs? And this is what came up. And you can Google this yourself. What brain signal is attached to you saying to yourself, I gotta get up and leave? Then go to Google and type in what brain signal is created when you say to yourself, I'm going to stay at home. And I'm going to show you all this here in a minute. So just trust me, bear with me, you'll understand this here in a few minutes. Okay? Now, I want you to listen to me. Say if you've been made homeless and you're a gang stalking target. I'm going to share you an example of what I experienced at a different hiking area. Back in 2018 and 19, I was at a hiking area off of Gilman Road, directly across the street from the La Jolla Hideaway condominiums. Okay? Now, if you type in the physical address of the La Jolla Hideaway condominiums on Gilman Road in La Jolla, California, San Diego, okay, you will discover exactly where they're at. And if you Google map it, you then will be able to visually see that there's a massive wooded area directly across the street from it. So, La Jolla Hideaway condominiums and the wooded area across the street from it run up and down Gilman Road between Villa La Conti Road and the intersection where you would, like if you were on Gilman Road and you were going from the direction of UCSD towards Interstate 5 on Gilman Road, well, right before Interstate 5, okay, so La Jolla Hideaway condominiums on one side of the street, then you pass them, and within one block, you will reach the intersection that allows you to make a right onto Interstate 5. Well, right at that intersection, across the street from it, is a wooded area. And there was a tree within that wooded area that literally looked like an octopus. Now, you'll understand why this is important in a second. And I know that sounds a little funny, but just bear with me. So I picked that wooded area. The crime of gang stalking made me homeless from suburban apartments in Michigan, one in Tennessee, so I just gave up on renting apartments. They'll also gang stalking the homeless shelters, discussed in at least the first video, because I don't know if this microcard has actually already segued into a second separate video. So if it has, I discussed that in video 1. Okay? So this wooded area is right before, it's less than 200 feet, right before that intersection. On the opposite side of the street from the La Jolla Hideaway condominiums. And there's a wooded area there. And in that wooded area, it's got a tree that literally looks like the inside of an octopus. Now, what I was doing in my tape recorders and video files was I was naming my hiking areas by and through, at times, using numbers, and sometimes I would attach a picture word to the environment based on something that was in the environment. An octopus is a picture word. It's a word that gives you a pictorial representation of something. Like a bicycle, you can visually view what a bicycle looks like in your mind when you hear the word bicycle. Okay? When you hear the word octopus, you think about the picture of what an octopus looks like. So it's a picture word. Okay? So this tree, and I know it sounds a little funny, but this tree, and it's huge too. So unless they've cut it down, it's still there. And by the way, this crime will cut down trees and bushes around victims' homes and hiking areas. Oh, you would not believe what I witnessed concerning that. Oh, absolutely. And that's even been discussed on national radio shows, including recently, by the way. Oh, absolutely. So, literally, I kid you not, because the foliage on trees and bushes can interfere with the radio frequencies and microwaves of direct energy weapons. And that was literally just recently discussed on a national radio show just here in the last 2 months. But it's also all over the internet in certain exposures. So anyways, so this area, which I gave the code name of it, the octopus tree location, because when I was making videos and putting tweets on Twitter about predictions about what might happen to me once I go along my routes on a daily basis, I didn't want to openly state where I was physically at, because that's dangerous when you're putting stuff online, you know, for other predators that are online. You know, you being a single woman, you don't want people to know where you're staying at, especially when you're homeless, okay? So I would give my hiking areas code names, okay? And this particular place I would call the octopus tree location. Now, back in 2018 and 19, right before I would go to get up and... hold on. Sorry. Right before I would go to get up, to get out of my tent, to then go unlock my bike, to then leave the area, every morning, hold on. I got a cold, thanks to what I endured through this last attack episode between the 19th and the 23rd, that I just cannot shake. Hold on. I'm going to the doctor's tomorrow. And by the way, let's see if anything happens that doesn't allow me to get there before 2 and then back here before it gets dark. Including at the doctor's office. Alright, now hold on. Now I'm going to have to say the following fast because I want to get this part of it out of... It's important, but I want to kind of hurry up and conclude it. Now listen to me very, very, very...